What up, what up, what up? It's your man coming back to you again for another week of the Bronze Room. I'm none other than your man, Big Bro Chris. You know, we got my wonderful co-host, Miss Joy.
Hey, y'all. What's up, Blacksmiths? Peace and love and blessings on this beautiful day.
And as you already know, none other than the illustrious LGZ.
Yo.
He got the intro.
I love it. Yeah, illustrious LGZ.
Right.
Full
okay.
effect, man, with our Blacksmiths. It's good to be back.
Yeah, man. Welcome. If you're new to the Bronze Room, we welcome you to come in, kick up your feet. You're home now. So let's get it.
Right.
On this day, it is none other than the man, the legend, not the myth, just the legend, the man and the legend, Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Put some respect on that.
Yes.
His life is celebrated today. He was born January 15th, 1926. And he went on to become the leader, the spokesperson, and the face of the civil rights movement back in the 1950s and 60s. We all know that he would go on to really lead the movement and be the very reason why we would get the Civil Rights Acts passed. But you know, the day itself being celebrated, Martin Luther King Day Jr. Day, it saw a lot of struggle just to get this. Before 1986, we did not have Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We only started celebrating that in 86.
No.
So the campaign for it, and this is the sad part, the campaign for it started right after he got assassinated, which was in 68. But it would take damn near 20 more years for it to start getting observed. It first went into legislation, or a bill was first proposed in 79, but it fell 5 votes short. And then people who were opposing it were citing reasons for like it being too expensive, because when there's a national holiday, when it's a national holiday, you have to pay all the federal workers. And so they were like, yeah, we don't want to have to front that cost. And which is, you already know that's BS. There's no reason why we don't have enough money to pay our federal workers. We got so many other holidays.
Right.
But at the time, they were saying another reason that they opposed it was that there were no national holidays celebrating individual people besides George Washington and your man, Christopher Columbus. So they were like
shitheads. The two people that didn't need a motherfucking national holiday to begin with.
Well, especially Christopher,
the colonizer.
Especially Christopher Columbus. That's the one for me. But anyway, you know, it would continue to be fought after 79, after it got voted down. One of the really cool gems that came out of the campaign for it was Stevie Wonder created his Happy Birthday song in as a push to popularize the campaign to get his life turned into a national holiday. And that was in 1980. So since 1980, we've been singing Happy Birthday. You know?
What?
That's major.
Yeah, it is.
That's iconic. That's major. I didn't know that that's where that song came from.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the holiday took so long. So it was 11 years later and they were still 5 votes short.
Right.
And
Right.
it wasn't until 1986.
Mm-hmm. So
I
the bill got signed in 83, but it was still met with a lot of resentment, um, along with a couple of people who cited those reasons as well, or that I spoke
those
before.
excuses,
Um,
because those didn't sound like shit.
right. A big proponent for it being too expensive was President Reagan, Ronald Reagan, your
I,
favorite president.
I was just about to say he was president during the time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was saying it was too expensive, that he did not want to front the cost for it. They were also saying that Martin Luther King was a communist. And so that's a reason why, they didn't really fuck with Martin Luther King. They didn't think he was somebody that should be celebrated because of that. They said that he was pushing for a Marxist movement, and they were citing that he was against or opposed to the Vietnam War. So which that should have been a plus, because everybody knows the Vietnam War we shouldn't have been there. But
No, they
I
was
guess
just making up shit. Because the real
right.
truth is they didn't want to celebrate a man. They didn't want it to be
Well, of
thrown in their
course.
face. A man celebrated who they fucking murdered in the hospital,
Right.
who
Right.
who they killed, who
Right.
they assassinated. No, we don't want to make a day out of somebody that we killed. It would rub it in our face. That's why Twitter laughed at the FBI when they fucking acknowledged him on Twitter. It was like,
Oh.
yeah, they went in on him last year. They was like,
Mm,
stop it. Black Twitter went in. Stop
good.
it. Y'all are the ones who did it,
Good. Good. Good.
because
And they actually have been trying in the country to, unholiday that day ever since.
Yeah. So some fun
No.
facts for you if you think you're disappointed now. Buckle your seat. So even though it got signed into law in 83, took 3 years later for the nation to start observing it in 86. States, because we are very states versus federal law type of country, several states elected not to celebrate it, or if they did, they titled it a different holiday other than just MLK Day. So in 93, Arizona wasn't celebrating it at
Of
all,
course.
but the NFL, in a push to get them to do it, they threatened not to host the Super Bowl in, I think, Glendale, Arizona. They were going to pull the Super Bowl from there unless Arizona started
Goddamn
celebrating.
shame.
So yeah, because the NFL twisted their arm, decided celebrating it. That was in '93. New Hampshire, they decided to start celebrating it in '93, but instead of calling it Martin Luther King Day, they wanted to call it Civil Rights Day. But 2000, they reversed the decision and started celebrating it. They were the last ones to really start. They were the last state that was not celebrating it up until 2000, and then they changed that. So Alabama called it Martin Luther King Day / Robert E. Lee Day. Arkansas called it MLK B Day and Robert E. Lee's birthday up until 2017. Idaho called it Martin Luther King Day / Idaho Human Rights Day. Mississippi called it Martin Luther King Day / Robert E. Lee's birthday. Virginia called it Martin Luther King / Robert E. Lee / Andrew Jackson Day.
They are the.
Yeah.
They was putting raisins all in the potato salad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where my mama from. That's why she moved from there. She was like, "Oh no, I
Yeah.
can't stay there."
Now they had a change of heart in 2000. They were like, okay, we'll celebrate Martin Luther King Day just as
I mean, what is the big deal?
but
This is a man that
here's the
should be
kicker.
revered. Like,
They still want to celebrate Robert E. Lee and Andrew Jackson, so they made it Andrew Jackson Robert E. Lee Day, celebrated the Friday before Martin Luther King Day every year.
because they just want to take away from him any way that they can. They want to erase his legacy. That's what that is all about.
Yeah. and then Wyoming had a Martin Luther King Day / Wyoming Equality Day up
What?
until a certain year.
Like, shut up! All y'all got out there is Buffalo.
This is meanwhile, while all the states haven't latched on to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday, like solely and just solely, international nations have been celebrating Martin Luther King since 2005. Toronto celebrates it every year.
Oh, that's
Japan
nice.
celebrates it every year,
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
Netherlands.
Japan.
So internationally,
Japan?
we have more
Oh,
support
that's
from Martin Luther King
sweet.
than we do right here in the United States.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, it's pretty
Damn,
sad.
you just spit some fire. Shit.
Pretty
Burn
sad.
my house down, Chris.
Yeah, sick.
Wow, that's you're like me, LJ. You're disgusted, huh? It's
Yeah, I'm
like
disgusted. I mean, you think about all the stuff that a person had to do to even get recognition to create real change, and then all the extra work that was put in to try to make it seem like this man didn't do that stuff or this man wasn't
right.
important
The
enough.
hate that he went through, the sleepless
Sick.
nights, writing speeches, advocating for his people, trying to make peace with people that don't even want to make peace, trying to bring people together and bridge a gap. He was really trying to create unity. And he created unity amongst his people because during that time, that was when there was the most unity in the 60s.
And it's ridiculous that a dude like Robert E. Lee that they want to, memorialize, they didn't think to memorialize him before Martin Luther King's birthday became a topic of discussion. Why not just make that nigga the day, give him his day way before? Probably because nobody gave a shit.
Because that wasn't the goal. The goal was to give a backhanded compliment to Martin Luther King. It was like, okay, if we got to celebrate it, then shit, we're going to celebrate our hero who was against the other hero movement.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Okay, we will. And we'll do this. Yeah, just petty. They're always petty, just like they killed those West African, soldiers because they didn't want to give them their pay after fighting in the war. They're always cheating and stealing and colonizing and beating and torturing and raping and imperializing and,
ethnic cleansing.
fucking things up, appropriating and taking away from, drug dealing and killing people,
incarcerating.
They just do everything under the sun and, don't want to give us that day. That's why I always say we can't be asking for shit. You got to take shit, but that's for another discussion. But can I share this quote with y'all that I thought I want just to wrap? Well, we don't have to wrap it up yet, but I just wanted to share this for on this day because this is one of my favorite quotes by him. And it's funny, like back in the day when I had my little MySpace and you could put up your little background. I had this. It says, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." And that is one of my most favorite quotes by him.
And there's so much meat on that bone, you know what I mean? Like we could talk about that all day.
That's a nice quote though, right? Isn't it? I try to remember that when people piss me off on the freeway.
Yeah. I mean, because it's facts. Like, because if you retaliate, generally speaking, it ain't ending there. You know what I mean? That's not going to squash it out. You can't fight fire with fire, so to speak. When we're talking about it in the context of changing people's hearts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you really want to change somebody's heart, it's not gonna happen through hate or retaliations. It's gonna happen through loving that person and them like just turning heart, changing heart, having a heart.
Yeah. And he did that, it didn't change everything, but that man definitely, he put a ripple of vibration through this whole universe because it's still precedent today,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You think about it, when we was kids, I seen this post from Michael Shea, so shout out to Michael Shea on this. He said when we was kids and we would celebrate Martin Luther King Day, he was dead for like 20, 30 years already. Today, he would have been 94. So the fact that we are still celebrating this man in way past his old age, way past the moment that he was murdered, just goes to show how much of an impact he really made.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 1000%.
Yeah. Very
1000.
powerful being.
And you know
Yeah.
what? Like a lot of people don't shed light on this, but his father was such an instrumental part of his life. Um, Martin Luther King Sr. Was one of the original. He was the OG of the civil rights movement.
Mm,
He was the
okay.
reason that Martin Luther King got involved, or Junior.
So it was in his
First he
blood.
was senior, and then Junior came through and took it over. He was like,
He
"Okay,
took
Dad,
the
I'm
torch.
love him."
And he took the torch.
Mhm.
Wow.
And luckily, he
Okay.
was able to see that bill get signed into law before he passed. I
Wow.
think his father died in '84, so he saw
Oh,
Reagan sign the bill, which
wow.
Powerful.
Wow. Wow.
and
This
that was a
okay,
strong
these are
man.
beautiful on this
That was,
day.
and that was a strong man. Just to say one last little bit about him,
Yeah.
strong man. He saw, so he had he had three children. He had to witness his son get gunned down.
Mm.
His second son died a year later by drowning, and his wife was murdered. I think I'm not sure, but I think it was Martin Luther King Jr.'s mom was murdered, so he had to witness
Wow.
that as well. So I was
Yeah.
a strong man, and that was
Sick.
and
Oh, yeah.
you have it's no question why his son Martin Luther King Jr. was so strong because he came from strong stock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you call a spirit in a human body. Like when you talk, we all know that, but like that's when somebody's spirit surpasses that, like, wow,
Mhm.
wow. Yeah.
Shout out to the fathers out there.
Shout out. And man, shout out to Martin Luther King Sr.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Right.
wow, this was some fire on this day.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we get to kick off the year, so to speak, the 2023 or each annual Gregorian year with a bang.
Right. That's very true.
You know?
LJ, you went to the parade, right? I meant to ask you
Yes,
that.
sir. Yeah. I was at the parade today. It was a really great time. It's funny that you brought up Stevie Wonder earlier. I didn't know that about Stevie Wonder making that song, but the radio station that he owns is KJLH.
Does it?
Yeah, he owns that station, and that's the station that I work at. And when they had the parade today, we were in the parade, on behalf of KJLH, going through the streets on Martin Luther King Boulevard,
I know that was
out
great.
there. Yeah, out there in South Central. So all the folks in LA, probably familiar with that area. And we just went down there. We was doing our thing. It was supposed to rain, and it didn't rain because
Didn't.
it didn't rain. You
Yeah.
can't you can't you
I was
can't
so
rain on a parade like that.
happy. I was
Yeah,
so
it
happy.
was great, and then a lot of
Yeah.
people came out, showed love. The community was out there. It was, just like Dr. King would have wanted. It was black, white,
Yeah.
Asians all out there showing love.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and we was rolling right through Lamert Park area, hit that left on Crenshaw, right by the Krispy Kremes,
Mhm.
and
Got the donut. Nah, just playing.
nah, I ain't getting no donut, but it was cool, man. It was cool. The newscasters out there, they were showing love. It was a great time, and it's good to just be a part of stuff like that, when possible. But I wish I would have known that earlier because I would have told them to play that song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right.
for
It's
real.
crazy how it
That's powerful.
connects, right? It was meant for
Right,
you to know now.
right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
Shout out to Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther King
Yes.
Sr., and all the freedom fighters out here
Yeah.
doing what's right.
Absolutely.
I know
We're
we're
so blessed.
we are still fighting in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King
And we're carrying the torch.
every day.
Yeah.
They out here fighting.
That's right. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Rosa Parks boycott, the bus. We all know about how she didn't get up from the seat, and then that resulted in the boycott, the bus boycotts. That was all planned. It was
Yeah, well,
intended for her to go sit in that seat, not get up, and they're gonna take you to jail. and we're going to respond by boycott.
You
That
see,
was
I
all.
love that you're shedding light on that, LJ, because
Yeah.
it highlights the tact and strategy that is sometimes needed in order to really propel things. You know,
Yeah.
many of us might make the mistake of thinking that, oh, stuff kind of happens organically, and nah, like things are a lot more strategized than we think, and they should be. We should adopt that strategy in itself.
Right. And start really carefully planning, just like Harriet Tubman. I didn't know, man, let me tell you, that woman was an architect, a scientist, everything. The way she thought, the way her mind, like seriously, an engineer, low key, to be constructing the way she can. So yeah, strategy, tact, really talking amongst each other and communicating and taking it serious. We got to start moving.
Yeah. Martin Luther King and the people that were involved in just putting that one idea together, they were the blacksmiths before we created the blacksmiths. To just understand this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to make a change. And, for lack of a better word, like they didn't know that was going to work, but they believed in it.
Exactly. Oh, this powerful today.
And we can guarantee that might have only been plan A, but I'm saying they might have B, C, D, E.
Right.
That's plan B, C, D, or G. You know what I mean? Maybe that was just one of many attempts that they've been thrown at the wall trying to.
Right.
Because Rosa Parks was not the first woman to be arrested for refusing to get up out of procedure. Forget what the original woman's name was.
Oh, it was another woman. It was a darker skinned woman.
Darker skinned woman. They chose Rosa because she was light skinned and they felt like she would be a better face to the campaign.
And Rosa Parks was a person that did not play. They catered to her personality. They knew that, it's like we picked Joy to be this person in this movement because we know she's gonna
ruffle the feathers out here. We got to make them calculate.
Right. Yeah. We got to pick up on our strengths and utilize them with each other. Use each other for those advantages. Each person has their own gift that and that cohesion together make one big transformer.
She said transformer. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Megatron.
For sure.
Exactly. One blacksmith.
One sword.
Yeah.
One sword. Happy birthday again to Dr. Martin King Jr.
Happy birthday.
King.
We salute you. King. We salute you. So we're gonna kick things off here at the Bronze Room with a new segment that we're gonna be doing every episode. This is gonna be called Hot Seat, and what it is we're gonna have a number of clips that come across the screen, whether they be videos or articles, and me and your wonderful hosts of the show will be talking about them in a very short, abbreviated way. It'll be about 20-30 seconds per video or article, and we move on to the next one. It's called the Hot Seat. So let's get the timer up on the board. Now we don't have a timer yet, but
I'm scared.
but we will at some point. Oh, actually, we do have a timer, so maybe we could do it. But we should have like sound effects and stuff that come into play. Y'all wait on that. Come back to the future episodes.
Yeah, okay, we improving each so.
It's a working segment.
Yeah, it's a working segment. But yeah, whenever you are ready, LJ, let them clips play.
That should have been on national news live. Fauci's being prosecuted for colluding with social media companies to silence and censor people, but they specifically kept it out of mainstream. I said, okay, that's interesting. We are going to hold everyone accountable who pushed the shot. Elon Musk, you pushed the shot. You did.
Okay. Yeah, ain't no lies. He's saying what we all know. They deleted a whole bunch of people off of YouTube, doctors and everything, spitting the truth.
Right.
Censorship is real.
Right. I mean, for me, I feel like whenever you start censoring people, that is a super slippery slope. Yeah, in my opinion, everybody should have a voice to speak whatever they feel, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah, we should have known that there was something up when you got shadow banned or your posts were removed for saying anything about COVID-19, just for the fact that we live in a country that's supposed to be free speech.
Right. It's about a virus, right? Why y'all so protective over it? Over the virus?
Right. Right.
Okay, this next one says Tesla abruptly stopped on the Bay Bridge, causing an 8-vehicle crash. Well, I would just say this. We seen iRobot. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. They was trying to tell us long ago that at any point these cars are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah, dog. I grew up watching Terminator, so I don't fuck with AI.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I mean, I'm not even surprised. These cars is like, fuck these people. They get on my nerves. We're gonna drive ourselves. They can't even drive me right. And that's true. These Tesla drivers get on my nerves. Sorry, Tesla drivers. Maybe the cars is driving them.
Hey, it's a conundrum, and this is a headline that is definitely worth paying attention to. For the first time in history, an AI bot will reportedly defend a human in court. So history is set to be made in February as the first time ever.
I mean, hey, I see a lot of good in this, to be real, but depending on who's programming these AI bots, because that's how they work, they need to be programmed. They could definitely fuck up some people's cases.
I'm gonna just say right now, whoever programming them, they smoking crack. They is. So good luck. They gonna malfunction.
I think AI bots, we got to be able to, like, they pick juries to proceed over some of these court cases. They need to be able to pick people who can proceed over the choosing of this AI bot. Who programmed
they do not
it?
have a bot doing it. I'm sorry.
I agree.
And we can see, like, who's the producer of this? What company are they from? How do we feel about it? It could work for us, and it could also not work for us.
I agree.
How nice and unbiased.
Your 15-year-old self right now on this carpet. You're talking
to my 15-year-old self. There's nothing wrong with your nose. There is nothing wrong with the shade of your skin. There is nothing wrong with the way your hair grows.
Do you ever wonder?
Okay, cut off the good part, but we already know what she said after. She said, boo boo, you ain't never got to be like them Kardashians. You ain't never got to be in lack. I mean, it's important that she says that because seriously, it's grown ass bronze women getting lip fillers. Like, bitch, you already got lips. It's in your family. It's in your blood, sis. We ain't never got thin lips like they ain't never that thin. We at least got a little bit of plumpage. She's right.
Mm-hmm. I would second that. Don't what J. Cole say? Don't I don't know. He said something like, don't change what God already put his paintbrush on. You know, you don't have to change up nothing. You look great how you look. Be happy with the shit that you got. You know, you don't have to have everything that these other people have on TV. That shit is fake anyway.
Right. It's filtered.
And I think the people that need to hear that the most is the youth. Because at a certain age, us as adults, we're pretty conditioned how we're going to be for the rest of our lives. So either you love your blackness at this point or you don't, but the youth, that's who needs to be hearing those messages again and again, because they see they're the subjects of the advertisements and the marketing of European Eurocentric features.
Right.
They need to hear that, and we need to be pushing.
Very true.
Oh, and just to leave it off of one Kanye line, he said, "That's why they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth. That's why these where ballers at. You know what I mean?
Right.
You replace wealth with just their features.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
We
I
love
like
their
how you
wealth.
I like how you how you connected that with Kanye and the Kardashians.
We love their culture to a certain degree, and so
Yeah.
we got to hop off that train and realize that we already on a lit train.
Right. It don't even have tracks. It's just going through the air like
Soul Train.
I like that.
You remember the animation from Soul Train? It was
that's
just
seriously.
That train was going in the air and everything.
Right.
Right. No lights.
That was a really dope, like, yeah.
Wonder in media if you're ever being constantly deceived. Like sometimes they will run a play with you and you will think that it's original, but really it's not original. It's kind of the same old stuff. This is kind of what is going on. This is what happened during the pandemic.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, LJ.
Who's I'll just say what I think this, same play. It's the same playbook. Sometimes they dress up the plays differently. This could be seen so many different ways. So many different moments. It'd be the same plays. The same playbook. Niggas don't even have no creativity. They try to hit us with the same shit.
So if you're in the audience right now and didn't see the video, pretty much what Dr. Boyce had on his reel was it was a lineup of two different Disney characters or two different Disney movies, totally different movies, where Christopher Robin was the subject of one, and I think his name was Mowgli. Or
Mowgli.
Was that the Jaguar or was that the boy?
The Jungle Book.
Yeah, okay. So Mowgli, he was walking through the forest just like Christopher Robin was walking through the forest, and it was the same exact movement, same exact gestures. So they pretty much what you could gather from it is that they were lazy and they didn't want to have to like design a whole new scene, so they just copied.
Do you ever
one from the other? You know what I mean? So I mean, honestly, and what Boyce was saying in the background was that pretty much these corporations and these entities, these powers that be, they run the same play. That's why we have to really, and that's why we do really drive home the point that this shit happened in the past, and now I'm not over it. You know what I mean? Because because as we all know, history repeats itself. If we know one thing about the future, we know that based on the past, it always repeats itself. So it's good to know these plays because they run right in front of your eyes, dummy. So just know it so that like when a nigga comes up to you and is like, hey, this, they doing this or doing that, don't you dare say like, man, come on, that's in the past. No, the past repeats itself.
Right. Damn, right. You said what I was just thinking. Basically, yeah. When they come out with Bovit 25, don't be acting like yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Different day, same play.
Oh, so this one was a woman. Sorry.
Go back. No, I'll go back.
A story last week revealed that a woman's father reportedly committed suicide because she married a black man. It was a white woman that's father committed suicide. As sad as that is, I mean, hey, shit, good riddance.
Peace.
I'm like, what's sad about that? He couldn't fight his demons, so they killed him.
Whatever. He wasn't. He was probably gay anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you that petty in 2020, 23,
like, sis, live on with your black man. Trust me, you ain't never going back. It's a don't even trip. I get it, sis.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna miss him that much.
Yeah.
She said, "Bye, Dad." She said,
"This."
She said, "This is yours no more."
This is my new dad.
She said,
"I call him Daddy." And so this next clip is just it's a screenshot of Clayton Bigsby, who was Dave Chappelle in the Chappelle show. He was one of the most famous characters. It was from from the black dude who thought he was white because he was blind. He was born blind his whole life, and because he was blind, he ended up joining the KKK and becoming the leader of it. So that sketch reminded me of the last story where homie committed suicide, because at the end of this sketch, he divorces his wife And the announcer's like, why are you divorcing your wife? She's been with you through thick and thin. And he was like, well, shit, because she's a nigger lover. Like he was so like,
I forgot about
he
that.
was so into his racism that he's gonna cut off anybody associated with black people, including his own wife.
Dave Chappelle said that so well.
So it's so smart and intelligent. It keys in on as to how stupid racism is. You know what
I mean, it really is. It's not. It's like, what are you mad about? Why are your panties in a bunch? Because I'm standing next to you and I'm breathing.
I mean, that's how it be though, and that's why I love your take. That's why I love your take about when you get into an elevator, you hold your you hold your head up high.
Yeah, like who is you? Bye. I'm not even taking your racism serious.
Right.
I really don't like it, because it's stupid. You know, you can, and now if you run me over with a car or something, then yeah, it's on,
Right.
It's on, we fighting.
Mm-hmm. Joy, this is yours.
What did it say?
Oh yeah.
Is this the dude who broke his wife's face? Mm-hmm. California legislators demand Endeavor CEO remove Dana White as UFC president. Well, shit. I ain't mad at that. He slapped his wife in the face. I don't care if she slapped him or not. He has an image to uphold. And honestly, if it was a man of color, he would have been lost his job. It wouldn't have even been a demand. He just would have been, his shit would have been all packed up and at the house already. Shipped. FedEx Express. So, I mean, he slapped his wife and he didn't hesitate. When she slapped him, that man didn't, he didn't pause. He didn't. They definitely doing karate and fighting in the house.
Right.
It was just too
definitely get him out of here. It's like it's just bad for what people say is right and true. Like if it's wrong for this person, it's wrong for everybody. So get him out of
here.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I mean, if it's gonna be wrong for other people, especially my people, then it needs to be wrong for you too.
Yeah, get his bald-headed ass up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because then it also looks like an image what people already think, like, oh yeah, we already thought that. He a UFC president. He definitely beat his wife ass. I was thinking that anyway, but we didn't need to see it.
Oh, man.
Bye, Dana. No, I'm just playing.
We don't see with our eyes. We see with our mind. And our eyes are just one of the tools our mind uses to see. So if our mind is blind, it doesn't matter what our eyes can see. But if our mind can see, it doesn't matter if our eyes are blind.
We
don't see with our...
That shit is real, man. Like, a blind man could have more sight than some of these dummies out here because they're not using their fucking brains. You know what I mean? A blind man can have more sight. So it goes to say that, like, your mind is the most powerful organ of sense that you will ever have. So you need to get this right before any of this other shit matters. Nothing else matters if this ain't right.
Yeah, because it's how you perceive things. Some people, because we don't know how to use these senses or this sense, we don't know how to use these senses. And you take a whole situation out of context or don't understand it because you're not using it. What your eyes saw, your mind wasn't ready to see, or your mind didn't know how to unfold it. Yeah.
And your eyes sometimes they can deceive the reality of what's really happening. You may see something and think that that's what you're seeing is one thing, but your mind can help you understand context in ways that your vision cannot. So it's very important that you mentally understand that there are different sides to all types of situations. You know,
absolutely,
and that could save your life.
Yeah. Ooh. Awesome. Okay, hitting them gems today.
Yeah. Good.
The medical experts are recommending prescription drugs and extreme surgeries on children now as young as 12 and 13.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is out with new guidelines for the first time in 15 years.
The medical
Okay. What the hell? That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, my sentiments exactly, specifically for the surgeries, um, because that's not really teaching the kid anything. Kids are meant to teach. So we got to impart some type of habit, lifestyle, behavior, or knowledge so that they live as productive adults. You know what I mean? And as far as the drugs, man, that this is nothing more than a move for the pharmaceutical companies and corporations to push more drugs into the population. If I can get to your kids at 12 and 13, then I got a customer for life.
Yeah, because isn't 12 okay? I'm not really good at psychology, but I think 12 is like a age in psychology. You know, they have different ages where the brain develops and stuff. And that's like a year before puberty hits, too. So I'm thinking that your mind is like probably finishing developing up in some other areas. That's not okay. And
Yes.
y'all are having these drugs go, and these drugs don't just leave from the system. You know, our body binds to things. Our, you know, the cells in our brain and all of that. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's early addiction. Y'all trying to create addicts. These the same, but these then again, this is the same company. These medical experts are coming from the same company that is pushing fentanyl.
Right.
And all these other high crazy drugs that average human beings aren't creating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are created in laboratories these are expert laboratories, you know what I'm saying? They're professional. So they just trying to kill people at a younger age. It's just another way to get to kill.
Yep.
Because y'all don't care. How come y'all know fruits and vegetables holistically can do any and everything?
Right. And the reason why they never promote that is for a reason.
Yeah, because I'm like, why y'all coming up with all this other shit when you could just like literally change the lunch in the cafeterias to all fruit?
Right.
Thanks.
Oh, child.
Sadio Man is transforming his village, Bombali, Senegal, into a city. Yeah, this is a famous soccer player. I'm not sure what country he comes from. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what country he represents or what Premier League he plays for. But
Bayern Munich said, sorry to cut you, but Bayern Munich is Germany.
Oh, it's Germany. Okay, perfect. Well, this man is getting bread, and is he investing it into his own personal wealth? No, he's feeding it back into the community. Kuumba is one of the themes of Kwanzaa. One of the last themes of Kwanzaa, and it means to leave your community better off when you better off leaving it than how you found it. So that type of goal and that type of direction, before we leave this earth, we would be building up our community better than we had it. You know what I mean? As a mission. And this dude is living what he's practicing what he preaches.
I love that.
I love it too. I love it too. And it's for one man, it's such a great example. And just think about all the brothers that probably from his village that just play professional soccer. They all get together and do that. It'll start looking like Ghana in 2 to 5 years.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that. And I see that as well. I see that vision, LJ. I love that.
It's a great example. Okay, let's see, is there more?
There were no people classified as white before the 15 and 1600s. As a matter of fact, the term Caucasian is a very relatively new term. It was a guy named Johann Blumenbach who came up with that term around 1790, 1795. So these are relatively new terms.
Were there white people?
There were no people classified as white.
I mean, that's super interesting, particularly because, you know, I think something that we should all know going forward is that we have no greater power than our numbers. You know, there's a reason why they're incarcerating so many, poisoning so many, experimenting on so many, misdelivering so many babies in our community. It's to dwindle our numbers. When you dwindle a population's numbers, you got them. So in order to gain their numbers, they weren't going as, oh, I'm Irish, oh, I'm German, oh, I'm English. No, hey, we need to just call ourselves one thing because these niggas is getting too many. It's too many of them. So we got to like bind together so that we can overpower them through numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Or the 1500s, Germans and Irish and English and French, they didn't fuck with each other. It wasn't until they knew that they had to in order to keep a certain class down.
Yeah, and this whole thing reminds me of when the census was created directly as a way to rip the original people of the land of what they rightfully deserved and putting them into categories like Black and Native American.
Right.
That separated people originally, and then people who came over here with names like Liechtenstein and O'Reilly and all this type of stuff. Now they can just be white, and it's okay if we're all white. We can all support each other because you're not just Irish, you're not just German, you're not just Russian. You're white in America, and they're Black, and we are better than them.
If it's white, it's right.
That's what the census was all for.
Yeah.
Look up this nigga Walter Plecker.
I mean,
He knew
they've
what he was doing.
always cheated. That's one of the reasons why they classified themselves as Native Americans as well, to get the reparations, to get the benefits, there's a lot of them who are living tax-free right now because of that.
You go to some of these reservation casinos and you see who owns them. They look whiter than they look white, real white.
That's crazy to me. Now it's just you want to talk about cheating, like I said, just repulsive.
It's all by design.
And that's why they always running though, because they always running from their demons. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's real.
Why don't we make the next one the last one?
If I tell you that I'm blessed, you go see I don't get stressed. She can pick me for my chest.
This is just another example of what we talked about before. So maybe the next one can be the last one. But it says comedian Michael Blackson built a free school in his home country of Ghana, and it's set to open this month. So, you know, it's just another example of these African brothers going overseas, getting that money that they get here and taking it back overseas to, you know, feed the people of his, not feed the people of his country, but to educate the people of his country.
I love that. I mean, and ultimately feed them shit.
Yeah, right. You don't just feed a man to fish, you teach a man to fish. So
yeah, then that's
powerful.
That's a celebration right there, and I love that. I love that.
100%.
Yeah, I love it. The one thing that I would say about it makes me think about cats from South America that come over here do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years. And the one thing that hurts about it is some of us over here, bronze people, we don't know which village we're from, so we can't do that.
I know. That's what hurts me. That's why I said, you know, where I'm from, I'll get back to my LA community, to my South Bay community, you know, of bronze people. That's as far as I can go, you know, that from here. But for generations to come, hopefully that can do something, you know, so that we do have some type of cultural identity built, because we have been able to build it, but then it gets stolen. And now America just steals anything and everything that we do. We can't even have an identity because everybody is wearing it and being it. You know, everybody is a Black person. We don't even get to have our customs, but you don't see us all walking around with sombreros, or, you know, seeing us all walk around with the little Scottish skirts or whatever, the kilts. You know, you don't see everybody. I mean, a couple rappers, but like, let's be real.
That's not our culture, though.
You don't see us wearing other people's culture like how everybody else does what we, you know, and it's because we don't have anything sacred anymore.
Well said, Joy. Well said.
All right, we're going to do one more?
Yeah, one more. So, you want to read this? Joy?
Yeah, I'll read this one. So it says, my best friend died giving birth last night at Centinela Hospital due to medical neglect. She and her boyfriend complained for hours to the nurses that she could not feel her legs, and they told her they could not call the doctors because they would get upset. Now my best friend is dead, bro. And
Sad.
all I can say is I know how it is. I experienced womb trauma because it was ignored. And it, like, I think I told y'all the story. I passed out because I had a cyst that ruptured on my ovary, and I fell into a wall head first. And then when I came to, just was in a lot of pain. But I went to a doctor about it. The doctor was like, no, you probably need physical therapy. But this is what they do to bronze women and the doctors. They laugh at us. They literally will laugh. They will be like, oh, no, you're good. They don't think that we feel pain like we do. I encourage all bronze women to speak up when you're in the hospital. I'm very aggressive when I'm in the hospital because they don't take us serious. This could have been prevented. This is why we need more midwives, more bronze midwives teaching how to give birth, because you're not even supposed to be laying on your back giving birth, truth be told. It's supposed to be squatting.
My uncle's wife wrote a book called Blood is Thicker Than the Mud. And in the book, she talked about her experience when she had twins. And she was in the hospital, and she started to feel like something was wrong. Something was wrong with her. She was feeling like she was hurt. And she was telling the doctors. Doctors were like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And she was like, no, there's something wrong with me. I'm hurting. And the doctor was like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. So eventually she had to get up. I think she had a pain in her back. She had to get up. She leaned against the bar. If you can imagine a hospital bed, then there's like the armrest. She leaned up because of whatever pain she was having. It was so painful. She had to get off of it. Put her pressure onto the arm bar. It broke. She fell off of the bed, lost the twins, and when they came in to see what was going on, they're like, why are you on the ground? She said, because I told you I was hurting and I had to get up. And she lost her twins.
I'm so sorry.
Long ago. I mean, this was years before any of us were even born, but it just goes to the point that you have to be vocal to these people and don't just take anything that these doctors and nurses are just saying to just kind of shoo you off.
Well, it's like they really do ignore us. They're like, you'll be okay. No, go. Like they literally will. I called the nurse. I was calling the nurse, like, can you get the doctor on the phone? I'm not feeling good. He was like, she's not seeing anyone else. I was like, no, please, I can't go into work. Like, I can't. Something is wrong. I was literally yelling that. It wasn't until, and then she called after, like, she kept blowing up my phone. Like, no, bitch, I don't want to talk to you now. Stuck fucking hoe. Y'all don't give a fuck about us in the hospital.
Yeah, you gotta be loud. You gotta speak up no matter what the fuck going on.
What we need to do is we need to start building our own hospitals and having our own staff, our own doctors, our own nurses, our own practitioners.
We need to be separate from them.
One thing that the Eastern cultures are very good at, almost to a fault, and we hear about it all the time, like they push their kids to be specific professions. And on one side, especially from a Western perspective, we could say that it's too domineering and it's too you don't allow your child to have a dream and all that, which
right.
I get that has its own merit and its own value for sure. But at a certain point, these communities, these Eastern cultures, they know that it's very, very, very important to build a community. And in building a community, we can't just say we can't up and just make a community or a town, right? And not have a doctor, a sheriff, a mayor, a grocery store. We have to start pushing these professions out and really flooding these professions so that we don't have to lean on a white hospital or a white doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Your own personal doctor. You should be, especially if you're a mother or a soon-to-be mother, you should be seeking out a Black doctor, a bronze man or a bronze woman who will.
It's so hard though.
I understand that, and
Because
I'm
even
not.
in my network, I had to find someone, and the closest I could find was an Indian doctor, and then they removed her from my network.
Yeah,
And then
so
I was like, damn, that sucks.
You know what? And I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
easy, especially if we're not pumping out doctors.
Right, if we
you know what
don't-
I mean?
right.
Which goes back into what I'm saying. Like, hey,
Right.
some of us as parents, we gotta like, yeah, I know our kids are gonna have their own dreams and everything, but shit, we need to be pushing them to be lawyers, doctors.
I think the thing
professionals that
is,
the community can lean on because we need them. They're killing us without them. It's
Well, I
not,
think
it's
we're
not about what
struggling
you want to
with
be.
with
We
the
need
wealth
you to
so
be a
much.
doctor. Oh, this girl is smart. We're not going to push her to play athletics or nothing. No, we got a gifted child here. We're going to push her and support her to be a doctor or a nurse or a medical professional because we need it desperately. It's not even a question.
We need the support for our people in the schools, though, too. That's where it gets bound because people, we have an imbalance of rappers and athletes because that's where you don't have to get a college education, but you can get that $30,000 tuition. You can get that $30,000 money.
And it
even though
takes,
it's not a lot of money in the bigger scheme of
it
things.
takes a village.
You know,
Takes a
and then
village.
you have these children that they might want to be a doctor, but then it's like, well, shit, you find out about some of these rappers and all these other artists, you're like, damn, they do this. I didn't know you were talented in that. You could do that because that was actually, they really love to do that. But rapping or music kind of got the door open for them. You hear about these actors and stuff, they go back to college and you like, why did they go to college at 30 something? Because they wanted to go to school.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. You're right. It's just crazy to me that it's like,
Yeah,
it's such
it takes a village to raise a child. And so
Yeah.
when the village recognizes, hey, this child is special, like they really got the brain power to do something special,
Right.
then we need to all
We need
pull
to
together.
come together.
We need to all come together and make sure that this child is at the best schools, has money and funding to do so. If it
Yeah.
takes all of us to pull together money, then we need to do that.
And
But we need
to
some
do
more
that
doctors,
because
medical professionals, lawyers. We need that shit.
all of
Science.
that tax people, engineers, accountants, whatever. Like we need more of those. We need that diversity, more tech people. We need shit. We need our own people that can get into a system, if you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, you're right.
All that takes a village. We got to start focusing on that. And honestly, you know, to quote the wise brother Charlemagne the God, "Fuck your dreams."
I
Yeah.
didn't know he said that, but
Me
I like
neither.
that. I'm with that.
Somebody told him he had a book called Black Privilege, and in that book he talked about a time when he was working at a radio station, but he also thought he wanted to be a rapper because his friends was rappers, and that's what we all do, some type of entertainment shit. And the guy straight up told him, "Hey man, you got a voice for radio, and you could go further in that. I don't know about this rap thing, but fuck that." And he made a whole chapter about fuck your dreams. Sometimes you just got to go with what's necessary, not with
Your
what
purpose,
you
like
want to
your
do.
true purpose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck your dreams, dog. We're at, and you know, especially now in the time where there's like a overflow of entertainment, and you know they making AI robots rappers. We don't need no more rappers. We
Yeah.
don't need no
Yeah.
more entertainers.
Like, really?
We good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we need farmers. You
We need
know, we
farmers.
need nurses, doctors, you
We
know.
need teachers.
Yeah, teachers, educators, yeah, like for real, that look like us, that care like us, that feel like us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that was the hot seat.
Right,
That was
okay.
30-minute hot seat. Well, it'll be
Right.
shorter next time. We promise, y'all. Blacksmiths out
Right.
there. It'll be shorter in the future.
Yeah.
You know.
Got
I
a
like
little
the hot
serious
seat.
with the last topic. I love hot seat. Yeah.
I like the hot seat.
Yeah.
So should we jump into our next
Yeah,
topic?
let's get
Yeah.
it. We're gonna go into our segments for the day. And first up, we're gonna talk about some rather sad news, unfortunately. On January 3rd, Keenan Anderson, who was the cousin of one of the founders to Black Lives Matter, was a car accident, and upon the police showing up to the scene of the crime, or to the scene of the accident, Keenan was outside of his car, flagging them down, asking for help. He seemed quite frantic. He was acting in a confused state. The officer that was talking to him initially, um, seemed, from what video evidence shows, was very patient with him and trying to arrive to some type of conclusion as to what was going on and what his dilemma was. But unfortunately, Keenan took off running, and later on, he was apprehended by 5 or 6 cops, from what the video shows. They had their knee in his back. He was shouting, "Please, please don't do it. They're trying to George Floyd me," and lo and behold, he ended up dead. At the end of that, they ended up tasing him several times, with 50,000 volts each time, at close range, over and over again. And by the time the ambulance came and loaded him into the ambulance, he was dead. So reports that I've read said that they found traces of marijuana and cocaine in the system. I'm assuming that's why he may have been acting in such a frantic way. He was clearly confused throughout the video. He was confused. He was unsettled. He was paranoid, which detail, just to give context to the situation. At the end of the day, he was unarmed. He was not physically trying to harm anybody. He was just, from what I can tell, and maybe I could be wrong, but it just looked like he was having a bad trip from drugs, which is, cocaine may be illegal, but I don't think anybody should be killed for using cocaine. If that was the case, then millions of people would be killed in this county alone for that. As I said, he was not trying to harm anybody. He was pleading with them the entire time, and they tased him to death. They tased him to death.
While people are talking about him having marijuana and cocaine in his system, I really think it's important that maybe they should start drug testing the police every day before they go out into the field, because the way that they react, it seems like they're on uppers. It really gives me like meth type energy, coke type energy.
Honestly, if that's not already a requirement, like a regular requirement, that should definitely be looked into.
I think they have random drug tests, but I don't think that they actually make them go and do it on a daily basis. I think if you're going to do it if you're the day that you have your shift, you need to go take a drug test. If you're going to be out in the field dealing with people, because if you don't know how to
I would agree,
use your equipment the correct way,
I would agree.
Why is this so regular?
I would 1,000. That's a great idea. Something I've never thought about, but yeah, 100%, 100%.
Because they talking about him, but who, like, y'all talking about these people having drugs in their system, but what about the people that are killing the people that y'all are saying having? It's the people that y'all say got drugs in their system aren't the ones killing.
Right. And we shouldn't even have to juxtapose whether drugs in somebody's system makes a fucking difference. I don't give a damn if drugs are in somebody's system. It does not give you a green light to kill them. It does not give you a green light to kill them.
With a taser.
This man, like we said, this man was peaceful. He was startled. He was confused, and this was a mental health breakdown more than anything else.
Right. Versus a white boy shooting up a church or shooting up a grocery fucking store.
The penalty for a mental health breakdown should never be death. It should never be death. I
Well,
don't care
they
what
seem to agree. They seem to agree since they buying people cheeseburgers after they blowing up places and shooting up places.
Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, Dylan Ruth. I don't remember who the dude that shot up the grocery store in Buffalo was, but these are white assailants who are going to jail and being brought in without harm. People that
and with
mass
food.
murder that committed acts of mass murder, yet you have a dude that got into a car accident, was tripping out a little bit, and he doesn't get to go home. He doesn't get to go to jail. He gets to be buried.
He doesn't get to go with his family. Why should he have even been going to jail or anything? Who knows what happened if he got hit? You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy to me. And then it's crazy to me how many other people look like us and was trying to justify it saying, resist. Do you know how many videos I've seen of white boys acting crazy and fighting and charging at the police and yelling, flailing?
January 6th, 2021.
Right.
They ran up in the Capitol building with zip ties looking to kidnap politicians. And nobody died. Well, one person, it might have been two civilians died out of that altercation. And one of them, I'm sorry, and there were several others who were cops who ended up dying from that. But thousands of people could be just ushered into the Capitol building.
And it took a long time for them to get them cases. So at this point, let's just call it what it is. It's genocide. It is
and
genocide.
that's something that we established that with the hospital case that we just looked at in the hot seat segment. We looked at that in the case with them celebrating Robert E. Lee on Martin Luther King's birthday. Like, it should be very clear, if it's not, to people in the audience, that there is an enemy who has it out for our community. And if you didn't catch on to it with this case, we got thousands of others coming throughout the rest of this podcast, as long as it goes, I'm sure, because
that's just so sad, right?
It's not going to stop until we make it stop.
Until we make it.
Until we make it stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it just it kind of hurts me because at this point, you look at these videos, and what's even more heartbreaking about it is the Black man is exploited online. We see so many. It's sad that it's normalized to see a Black man die in real life.
You say exploited? Exploited in what way? What do you mean?
Exploited in the way that not only are we killed on a daily, but it's blasted all over the internet every single day. It shouldn't be how often do you see like a white man killed?
Oh yeah, very, very
murder rare. Just not in a movie, but in real life. You have young children who have access to phones and online. They're seeing this.
Yeah.
Family members who are showing other family members these and their children.
Yeah. One of the realest things that I ever heard was that these viral videos of us getting killed, it's not like they are modern day lynchings, because when you lynch somebody back in the day, the reason why they were up in a tree was not just to show like what you did, but it was sent as a fear tactic.
Right.
They wanted everybody in the world or in that community that when they walk down a certain path, they see what could end up to them.
Right.
And so that's what these viral videos are.
Right.
Like showing us like, hey, if you act out of line too, we'll get you too.
It's like you don't even have to act out of line, and that's what's scary.
Well, yeah.
What's scary is it can be anybody. It can, I pray over my brothers constantly, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, like I think about my brother, and he has always wanted to be a part of law enforcement. But I'm like, until you're a part of that, when you're a civilian, you better watch yourself as a Black man. Because they don't give a fuck how much you want to be a part of them. All they're gonna see is you in your civilian clothes. You know what I mean? And they don't care how proper you're talking, how, hey buddy, I'm one of you. They don't care about that. You're not. They see a Black man, and it's just sad. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know if there's been like any protests happening around this. Based on the comment section, it seems like people are excusing this death, but
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any protests happening.
A protest is not gonna do anything anyway. We gotta stop. We gotta retreat. But until then, like you said, there's gonna be these conversations. On the podcast. At this point, I'm just like, okay, well, I want to just acknowledge this person at the very least.
Yeah.
And keep bringing it up, because if we don't talk about it, as heartbreaking as it is, and it's tiresome, like having these conversations. We shouldn't be having these conversations so often. But to bring this up so that people don't forget, so that we remember what we're fighting for,
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it's.
I mean, one last little bit on this. I'm forgetting this brother's name. Forgive me, but this case reminds me so much of this Black dude, young, might have been in his early 20s, maybe just a late teenager, like 19 or so. But it was in Colorado. He was approached by some police officers who said that they were called out because they noticed some suspicious activity. He was walking on his way home from the store. You could tell just by the interaction that this dude was he was super innocent. He was very he was so innocent, almost childlike.
Is it the one who was slightly autistic?
I don't know if he was autistic, but I know that he worked in a veterinarian's office, and there were several videos that went viral of him playing the violin to the cats. And I mean, he was a kind soul. I forget his last name, but his first name was Elijah.
Oh yeah, that was him.
Yeah. Wore glasses, and he was just like a sweet dude, and when they approached him, he was again like this guy that we're talking about like Keenan Anderson. He was confused. He was confused more than anything, and they pinned him down on the ground, handcuffed him. He was freaking out because you could tell he'd never been in a situation like that. He was freaking out. And so when the medical professionals came through, I don't know why they were called. Maybe because they slammed him on the ground, so they had to call them. They injected him with something to calm him down. I'm not sure what the chemical was, but that chemical went on to kill him.
I remember that. They killed him.
They
yeah, I remember that. It's just not an accident. It's not an accident. And that's what people need to know. Like, y'all, what does it take? Like, when I put up a comment and I was like, when the fuck are we going to get mad? Why are we being so docile? And of course, it was a troll talking about, did you think before you spoke? Like, shut up. Y'all over here in the comments too. Y'all don't even want us to y'all won't even let us be in pain. You won't even let us grieve. That's how sick you are. So sick.
Just to give that man some respect, his name was Elijah McClain.
Yes, Elijah McClain.
August 30th, 2019 is when he was killed by the police. He was injected with ketamine to sedate him.
To kill him, to tranquilize him to death.
and he never came out of that coma. Essentially,
they euthanized him, basically.
Yeah. So,
like I said before, they need to start drug testing police every single day on their shift.
Yeah, I agree.
On-site drug test person, not even a part of the field. They a third party. Y'all need to be drug tested because you're clearly doing drugs.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of drugs. They have the most.
No, they are
domestic
police
violence issues.
are the worst.
Yeah, they kill themselves. They kill each other.
Yeah.
The worst divorces.
They're the worst.
Disgusting.
You know.
Yeah. So that says a lot about that too. Ask their ex-spouses. You know, they cheat on their spouses with suspects.
And with fellow police officers, they
all the time.
That story just came out about
the chick getting the train ran off.
This police officer, Mrs. Officer, was getting.
It's a lot of them like that. That's how they get their promotions and stuff. My mom has talked about that before in her line of work. She was like, she told me about the many hoes that there were on the department. She was like, there's a lot of hoes and they get their titties done. And it is. That ain't nothing new. They nasty. You got to have a certain kind of mind. That's why I'm happy. Yeah, she's not in that anymore. She left the gang.
Yeah, that's
and she has her sanity with her.
Gang is the correct word.
Yeah. Okay, so with that said, I guess we will go into more positive news for the San Francisco residents in San Francisco, California. The committee in San Francisco has been discussing offering reparations to longtime residents, longtime Black residents. That have at least lived in San Francisco for about a decade. So they're talking about giving $5 million, and they're talking about it as a lump sum. Surprisingly, I couldn't believe that. But they're talking about offering this as a lump sum and also debt forgiveness. So I think that's awesome. So far, this talk is only in San Francisco, and it's nothing solidified. This is something that they want to, hopefully propose and. Well, they're proposing it, so hopefully it gets granted. But I don't know. That's just for San Francisco. I don't live in San Francisco, so I don't know. But that's something they should probably do everywhere. What y'all think about it? About these reparations?
I mean, hey,
$5 million.
That's a lot better than one of the proposals that came out a few weeks ago, maybe last month, that was talking about.
What was it like?
200 down.
It was like 235,000.
Like, nigga, that's not even a house. That's not even a house. Can I buy a house?
Right. So the $5 million is definitely we're going in the right direction. You know what I mean? And the cancellation of debt, that's huge.
And they said this is not because of this is not because this is not because of slavery. This is pretty much because of systematic oppression.
Oh, good.
For all the years. So this is not even related to slavery. This is just because of the systematic oppression and the inconveniences and the shit that we go through on a daily.
I can fuck with a bill like that. That's
I thought that was pretty cool.
Now, here's my question. How many Black people live in San Francisco? Ever since San Francisco's been gentrified, it's probably only about 50 of them left.
Somebody said, yeah, that's true. Because are y'all gonna give it to people who was living there for 20 years and then just moved away?
Probably not. So many people in the past 10 years have been priced out of San Francisco. So many people live in Stockton now. They live in Sacramento. The Bay Area was displaced. Many residents in the Bay Area were displaced because San Francisco is the most expensive. It goes neck and neck with New York. Is the most expensive place in the country to live.
I heard, people say that
$3,000 for like a 1-bedroom. Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid.
I heard it's expensive out there because some people talk about LA, and I've heard other people like San Francisco entered the chat. Like is
LA ain't nothing compared to San Francisco.
I believe it.
The Bay Area is one of the top 3 most expensive places to live in the whole world.
And it's crazy
world,
because it is a lot of homelessness over there too, to be honest with you. When I was walking downtown, it is. I was like, damn, y'all just thick out here, huh? Seriously, the bum. I was downtown at the mall. It was people around. He literally just stood up and pulled his dick out and peed right there on the street. He just peed.
Not
He
surprised.
Super sad, right?
Yeah, they be out there. You can go in downtown, right where the Louis Vuitton store is, the Gucci store, all these nice high fashion places.
Yes.
And literally on your way to the parking lot from them places, walk over needles. Right in the streets.
That's crazy. And that has a lot to do with the gentrification. I know that some of these people are people that may have lived here before and then they couldn't come pay their rent. And, so that's a very good question, Chris, because I'm like, well, who y'all really giving it to? Whoever's still living there must got hella bread anyway. Or they roommate.
Give it to some of them homeless niggas. I mean, there's a lot of niggas that live in the projects in Hunters Point. That's like a real project out there in San Francisco. There's going to be some people out there, but to Chris's point, not as many as deserving of that $5 million.
Yeah. They were like, okay, we did the census. It's like 4 of them left. 5 million, 20 million. That's it. Boom.
Right. I mean, now earlier you were saying that this bill is sponsored by a certain organization, didn't you?
Let me see. It said some reparations committee. So let's see.
Oh, I thought you were saying that was sponsored by the Church of Scientology.
Oh no,
that was the fair tax bill.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, this is okay. No, this committee is called the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee.
Okay.
This was a draft that they released for this. Yeah. So,
well, yeah,
so
it sounds really good. $5 million, and it's not in regard to slavery, because we want them reparations too. That's a good starting point. I like.
We want them reparations too. I like that.
Yeah, because we deserve it as foundational bronze people. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that we've been through. Are you kidding me? You know how many jobs I suffered in with my afro? Come on. I really did go through some shit. We've all been through some shit, just even the fact of us growing up the way we grew up with a lot of disadvantages. We just don't realize because we didn't know the advantages.
So in legal jargon, that will be known as punitive damages.
Yeah.
Let's go, Chris. Hit him with that articulation.
In civil law, when you sue somebody, a lot of times it's compensatory to compensate you for the money that you lost. But not only can you sue somebody for that, you could sue them for punitive damages, which is like the hardship that you had to endure.
Yeah.
So you were awarded this money as well. So here's a bonus on top of that. We deserve that as man.
All of that. Like I said, the whole world is really owed to us, but they're not gonna do that. But just give us a few breadcrumbs. That's all we need so that we can take over.
Yeah, because
give us the whole loaf. And
we want to do with that.
They will never. You have to take the whole loaf.
I'll take the crust.
You have to take the whole loaf. Yeah.
We could take that. I mean, shit. What's that Jay-Z line? They gave us pig intestines, and we made, chitlins. They gave us the worst parts of the hog, and we made some.
Right.
We made some shit up out of that.
Okay. So, now you see they people standing up in the soul food restaurant like, bitch.
Right.
Go eat some motherfucking potato salad with raisins today.
Everything.
That's their jam too.
Right. Oh my God, y'all. Okay. So hopefully they talking about LA next and some real shit. And I know 200.
Well, we got Karen Bass at the head, so hopefully.
We gonna see. My mama was talking shit about Karen Bass. I was like, Mom, why? She was like, "Cause that bitch don't do what she say." Say that.
Hey, as much of a proponent as I am for Karen Bass, honestly, we need to hold her more accountable than we would a white politician. You know what I mean?
You
We
think?
have to
I
hold
feel
her.
like she got more struggles than they do. She got to face her own setbacks up in there to try and make it work. I feel like
Oh
she
yeah,
got,
for sure. You're gonna
you
have to go through
know,
the
it's like,
bureaucracy and the game. You know,
yeah, they're gonna be
all the
like,
games. But
Karen,
that's not
pull
to say
down
that
your
we can't hold her
tights, bend
accountable.
over.
Yeah.
Do you want the big dildo or do you want the spiky one? Like,
But that's not to
seriously.
say that we can't hold her accountable. You know what I mean?
No, it's true. We do have to hold her, but I think she might have been coming from a cop standpoint. Who knows? Karen might have pissed off the cops.
Maybe. Hey, the cops need to be pissed off after this shit that we
You
just did.
know,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'd
yeah,
hope she's coming after the cops.
yeah. So we'll see.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it needs some. Yeah, they need a. Yeah, because they've actually cut up quite a few times this week.
Already.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Keenan Anderson, he was one of them.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, so hopefully them reparations come in. What's our next topic? The
You know,
Fair Act, the Fair
well,
Act.
we're actually gonna cut the Fair Trade Act or Fair Tax
Oh,
Act. We're gonna come back to that next week. You know, that'll be an issue that's still in the
yeah,
news.
it'll develop more too. We can find out what bullshit they got up their sleeve.
So we're going to fast forward to bring you Vibe of the Week. For the Vibe of the Week, this week, January 15th, January 16th, 2021, 2023, excuse me. Ooh, I'm living in the past,
Ooh,
y'all.
he done went through a time machine.
Yeah.
You here with us?
Yeah, your Vibe of the Week, January 16th, 2023, is growth. Growth is a topic that I believe has been a vibe of the week in the past, but you know what I mean? I like leftovers, you feel me? So sometimes we're gonna circle back to some of these things because if it's a good one, it's gonna be some meat left on that bone. So, you know, for this week it's growth. As me and the crew were talking earlier this week, we talked about growth being a state that is uncomfortable. When you are to grow, whether it be in your career, in your personal life, and within your relationships, if you're feeling good more times than not, that's an indicator that no growth is happening. You know what I mean? Just like a baby, when it comes out that womb, that baby is upset. It's crying and shit. Doctor got to slap him if he's not crying, and he starts crying. That's an uncomfortable feeling because he's been taken out of a warm, controlled environment, and he's just propelled into hell, essentially, because that's
Right, it's all cold.
where we at right now. Held from this warm, controlled environment into earth, and it's uncomfortable. But he cannot grow in that womb. He's reached his limit. So in order for him to continue growing, he has to be outside the womb. He has to be out here in this world. He has to start standing on his 2 feet and learning how to walk and then learning how to run. So there's a reason why the tagline is growing pains, because growth is not comfortable. So in the midst of, especially in this Gregorian calendar, New Year, a lot of you guys have set resolutions to improve yourself in one category or another, and it's getting hard. But you don't have to fret about that hardship. You know, that should be an indicator that you're on the right path. You know, if it's uncomfortable, that means that it's working. You know, so I just want to encourage everybody to keep growing, keep that in mind, and one day you're not going to feel those growing pains anymore. You're going to be a fully formed new person, so to speak. You know, you're going to be not a shadow or a shell of yourself. You're going to be
a butterfly.
You're going to be a butterfly. All right. So don't be afraid of the cocoon stage. You're just growing your wings. And that's my vibe of the week, growth.
I love it. I feel like I'm going through growing pains right now. Actually, y'all, healing can be ugly. It's very, very true.
Yeah.
With that said, I would say my vibe of the week, and honestly, you know what? I really learned about this characteristic going through a really strenuous time in my life. I feel like this is when you learn about this faith. Faith, I didn't really understand the concept of faith until I really had to use it, like, as an adult, and really, like, trust myself and believe in myself and rely on the strength that I had from going through growing pains. I feel like when we're growing and, we're feeling that unsureness and that uncertainty, we kinda wanna revert back into old ways that make us feel comfortable, to stop the growing pains, but that's not what's gonna fix it. What's gonna fix it is to walk by faith while you're going through that pain. And so that's what I'm going through right now, and I'm just trusting that everything that I'm doing is to put me in the best position possible. So I'm trusting it because I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing what's the best for me, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. So I'm going to have faith and continue believing in what I'm doing that it's going to get me to the other side. So
It's beautiful.
that's where I've been. Yeah.
That's
So
beautiful, Joy. And
thank
it,
you,
it
Chris.
relates to that video that we saw in the hot seat. That man was saying that your mind is really the main focus, or it should be, in terms of getting that right in order to see. But
Yeah.
honestly, you could substitute mind, and I think he was alluding to this as well, for spirit. You know,
Mm.
we
Mm.
walk by faith and not by sight. And so
Mhm.
faith is another word for when your spirit is operating in its finest moment. You know,
Mhm.
it's propelled and kind of just strengthened by faith. And so it might look like a fucked up scenario or whatever. All your senses are telling you one thing, but your faith is telling you another thing. And it's a good
Right.
thing that if you're walking by faith, you're not distracted by what your eyes are telling you.
Mm. Exactly. Yeah. No matter how
That's
tough it
awesome.
is, no matter how ugly it gets, you just know that faith is like that string that you're holding to pull you through the darkness. Like that's how I picture it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. I see you operating in the spirit system.
Yeah,
That's
you see
awesome.
me? You see me?
Yeah,
Gotta glide up in this universe and in this hell.
right, right,
I'm trying to ascend, you know,
right.
try not to repeat the same things I might have done before. Yeah, which
Man,
we're all doing, hence growing pain. So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's the vibe of the week. Blacksmiths out there, we really appreciate y'all for coming in and coming back home. Each week we count down the days till we can see our audience again and get to interact with y'all. So everybody out there, we love you. Stay safe out here, please. Stay safe. Support your brother and sister. And we'll see you again next time on the Bronze Room.